Welcome back to Film Fanatics. My name's Miles, and today we're talking about Blue Beetle. And first off, I'm gonna just go ahead and let y'all know this movie is pretty boring. Like, it's boring AF. And it caught me like a couple times just going like, yo, what am I gonna do after this? What am I gonna eat? Because it's just it's not much to it. It's pretty mundane, an origin story. I think aside from the family aspect and a couple of the little story beats they try to hit throughout the movie, aside from those couple of things, overall, it's just kind of whatever. And after seeing a few movies this year and going into movies with low expectations and coming out going, wow, like Talk to Me, or or even The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Like movies like that where you're like, didn't expect much, got more than what I was expecting, didn't expect much from this movie, and it pretty much, lived up to not expecting too much. Like I said, aside from a couple aspects from being a young adult who's getting out of college, freshly graduated, those struggles and getting a job and still, having to work extremely hard in the real world to, see success, and coming from where he comes from, in a Hispanic background where his parents, have their trials and tribulations, all the way up to his grandparents. We get to see from his perspective, trying to make something out of himself, to his parents' perspective of where they come from. Even his uncle, which is played by George Lopez, which is obviously the standout. He's basically the highlight in terms of comedy of the movie. So if you're laughing, it's probably because of him or what he's got going on. And typically a seasoned comic like that is gonna land a lot of his jokes, and that was really refreshing. And that was pretty good about the movie. But aside from those little beats and them making it really about family, that's really all you're gonna get with this. It's kind of like Shazam 2, where they're just gonna basically push family in your face to hopefully go see this. I heard this might be the first movie in the DCEU. Again, that might not also be true. I think they're just kind of maybe misleading you. Nothing about this would speak about that because they reference a lot of the Snyderverse a little bit with that. So it's like, are we in here or are we not? So a couple of my cons about the movie. A few elements of the movie, like I say, don't work. It's a lot of CGI, a ton of CGI. You can also tell like a couple of these actors might not even been in the scene with each other. So it's like it kind of does take away from the movie a little bit. And then obviously there's a lot of CGI fights, a lot of it also leads to a CGI fight, which I don't really think is that bad. I think they did a good job of humanizing who was obviously chasing him, because I think the villain of the movie is kind of this lady and the corporation, and kind of how they get into everything about the scarab and what that does and how it binds with our protagonist and how he goes about that. Because really, like I said, it starts off with him and his trials and tribulations and him working extremely hard. Someone in the real world would actually do these things, getting to that point of, I really need this job, showing up, doing the work. And then this rich white lady puts this on him, and now his life has changed forever. And the movie really does do a good job of exploring what would happen if you were chosen for something that, you had no clue that was for you. Kind of a slap in the face to the original story of what would someone do who did get a college degree and still, needs to make ends meet, still wants to do something for his family, isn't having strong success in the real world, and none of his family on any level are having success. And it really shows that, and it's like a very humanized story, and it's like, this is kind of depressing. And aside from the fact that he becomes a freaking superhero, the scarab binds with him and they become one, and he does end up accepting responsibility, Spider-Man-esque, trying to take that trope from them. It's aside from that, they kind of get left off pretty badly, aside from him being this hero. So if you look past the fact that all these bad things happened in the movie to this guy, and that builds a superhero kind of canon events, that's just what you're gonna get. But overall, I think Marvel, DC, those are the movies that stand out, throughout the year that have just not been that great to me. And after seeing quite a bit of a couple movies this year. I think ultimately they're just trying to make as much bad content as they can to eventually sell this property. That way, you know, it's out of their hair. They can focus on whatever they want to do and probably just go back to Pixar and Disney movies. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, this movie was pretty boring. It was pretty. So if you decide to go see it, you know, go for it. Outside of that, thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. Sorry that this was such a Debbie Downer. I was really hoping that this would have been good. You know, I had low expectations. I'm sure a lot of people are going to have low expectations. But once again, thank you so much for making it to this point. Consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe. Let's have a conversation. What do you think about the state of Marvel and DC? What the heck are they going to do about this fiasco? What's going to happen between these studios and going forward? And really, are we really expecting anything good to come out of these studios anymore? I knew I was a diehard Marvel fan at one point, but now it's like, yo, stop shoving shit down my throat. So once they stop doing that, making great content, we'll be back. But thank you so much for getting to this point. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your life.